Stop! What's your name?
Who's asking?
I'm with Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
Oh, hey, I'm Elle Martinez.
And what's your immigration status, Elle?
Yeah, I'm gonna exercise my Fourth and Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and decline any unwanted search and seizures.
I'm an immigration official. You have to answer every question I ask you.
No, I don't. I choose to exercise my constitutional right to remain silent and refuse to answer any of your questions.
If you don't answer my questions, I will arrest you.
If you arrest me, I will continue to exercise my right to remain silent and refuse to answer any of your questions. Besides, do you have a warrant for my arrest?
Yes. I have an arrest warrant for El Ramirez.
You have an arrest warrant for El Ramirez. I'm Elle Martinez. Also, it doesn't just need to have my name on it. It needs to be signed by a judge, and I don't see a judge signature on here.
Backup. I need backup. She knows her rights.
So am I free to go?
Wait, you can't just walk away from me?
Yes, I can.
Men are posing as ICE officers to assault and rape Latinas. Here's what we know. In Brooklyn, a man told a 51-year-old Latina woman he was an ICE agent. He led her to a stairwell, tried to rape her, beat her, and stole her phone and purse. In North Carolina, a man pretended to be an ICE agent and threatened to deport a woman if she didn't have sex with him. Please stay safe. Try to travel in groups when you can and carry legal self-defense tools like pepper spray, bear mace, or a personal alarm. But always check your state's laws to make sure what you're legally allowed to carry, since this varies by state. However, beware. Using force against a real officer, even in self-defense, can carry serious legal consequences. This is exactly why clear identification matters and why agents who refuse to identify themselves pose serious risks. Across the country, masked men in plain clothes are pulling people into unmarked cars with no names, no badges, and no accountability. In response, California Senator Sasha Renee Perez introduced the No Vigilantes Act, requiring anyone doing enforcement to show a name, badge, or ID, or face investigation by local police. At the federal level, Representative Adriano Espaillat introduced the No Secret Police Act, which would ban face coverings for any officer interacting with the public. California has the chance to lead, but only if we show up. If you live in the state, call your representatives and demand a yes vote. If you live elsewhere, push your lawmakers to introduce similar protections. Everyone deserves to know who's enforcing the law. Make sure to follow us for more updates.
But you're from Mexico, right? And I'm like, no, I'm from here. And like, I was born here. Here, where's here? What are you talking about? Where exactly is here? I'm like, here, the US, Los Angeles. They put us in chains. So I had a chain from my hands and under my belly that went all the way to my legs. Every now and then, like, fix my hands because I felt like I would be putting too much pressure because the chain went under my belly.
Agents eventually releasing Carrie after she said she started feeling pain around her belly. She raced to the hospital where she started having contractions, she believes, from the stress of what happened. 4 days later, she delivered a healthy baby girl. Her boyfriend, the baby's father, is Brian Alexander Barrera, undocumented from Guatemala. Carrie says he is now being held at a detention facility in Texas.
Adrian, you told the agents that you were a U.S. citizen?
Yes. And I told them that when they started questioning me, they said, okay, where were you born? I said, I was born in Huntington Park. They said, do you have anything to prove that? I said, well, yeah, I have my driver's license like, on me.
Do you feel like they believed that you were a U.S. citizen?
I believe that they knew. Basically, they just wanted any type of little proof to see if it's true. And they're making it very hard for me to actually prove that.
When this happened, like, you were working at Walmart, are you gonna be going back to work at that Walmart, or like what does the next step look like?
As of right now, they fired me, so I don't even think I can go back. It was on the 17th. They fired me on the 18th, and they said it's because it's work violence.
They said because of his arrest.
Oh,
because
right.
of the arrest.
Wow.
Yeah. Which, as we now know, he wasn't even arrested for assault charges.
You were in the van, and then what happened? Like, what was the process like?
Yeah, from ever since I got in the van, it was just a lot of driving around. But until we got to the actual building, it was basically where they had all of the people they were getting, like from ICE and getting all those, they were getting people, like if it was a dog shelter, like getting animals, like rounding them up in shackles and chains, and these are hardworking people, and they have them worse than like animals. Like that's what I specifically remember. They're treating us worse than animals.
What medical injuries did you sustain during your arrest and detainment? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
That I know of, I was just busted up from the knee and I was bleeding from my knee to my shoulder. When they were grabbing me, I had bruises on my arm from when they were grabbing me, and my fingerprints, you can see their fingerprints, and a big bruise on between my bicep, and my back was bruised. I had bruises right here.
Adrian attempted to merely question the treatment of an elderly man against the treatment of these big armed agents. And in doing so, he was met with violence. What is scary is that at first he was disappeared, alleged to have assaulted agents when that was factually false. What is even scarier is that he was disappeared into ICE detention. People without legal status or who are accused of not having legal status are not being afforded due process and are being put at this type of risk. We all have a right to record out in public. You don't have a reasonable expectation of privacy when you're out in public, and they are acting in this masked way, these almost mercenary type individuals who appear to lack the appropriate training and are enforcing these laws with violence. And that is what's most concerning.